to the 815 Exchange. I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again for episode 44 of the 815 Exchange. And well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a busy last night. There was a lot going on. Had some very exciting events. We had some events take place, like which was in the title, and like the big event, which of course I guess is Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. That weren't as exciting as some people would have liked. But we also had an event that not a lot of people, well, I guess it's still trending on Twitter, but that was very, very exciting. I'm very excited to talk about, amongst other things going on, like the NBA and NHL Playoffs that we're going to talk about here. This could be a quicker episode, but I feel like I say that pretty often, and then it somehow ends up to me talking on this camera for about an hour, almost to like 50 minutes. It's always something around there. So I'm not going to promise you anything, but I am going to promise you, however, that this is episode 44, and this is an episode of the 815 Exchange, which means, as always, that timestamps, if you're looking for a specific topic, are in the description. As always, what else? Social media links also in the description. If you're looking for that, feel free. They're right there for you. Make your day. Go follow me at my different platforms I have on the different social medias, and yeah, we can talk there, or you can hear me talk about my life or show things and aspects of my life. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our first topic of the day. And we're going to start off with, how can I not? We're actually going to switch up the order here. Normally I do soccer first. It seems like I've kind of gotten that. Soccer first, NBA ends up at the end. But we're going to switch it up. We're going to switch it up today. We're going to start off with combat sports, actually. We're going to start off with Logan versus Floyd, because I'm sure many of you want to hear what my thoughts on that fight were. Chris, was it rigged? Chris, was Floyd not trying? Chris, what happened? What happened? Oh, they just were hugging each other the entire time. So, listen. I came on here and I said either one or two scenarios. I also said this on TikTok. I said one or two scenarios were going to happen. I said either Floyd rides this out for the show and they go full 8, or Floyd gets angry and he does him like he did Tension and he knocks Logan out. As we got closer to the fight, I started to think, he's probably going to get knocked out. Not gonna lie, I said it, it's on camera. I was leaning more towards that. Ultimately, we saw what I'm going to say, there's a reason why we have weight classes. Also taken apart, even though he is quite possibly the greatest boxer of all time, he is still a retired boxer. Floyd is not an active boxer. Yes, he still actively trains, but this is not prime Floyd Mayweather. This isn't Pretty Boy Floyd. This isn't prime Money Mayweather. He's still very good. Don't get me wrong. As we saw in the technical aspects, he was simply just a different class of boxer than Logan. But this isn't prime Floyd. So I think that needs to be taken into account when people are talking about this fight and what happened and how they feel. And like I said, this is why we have weight classes. Logan was weighed in at 189 pounds. Floyd weighed in at 155. So Logan probably went back up to 200 something for the fight, I would say. Which means he was probably around 30 to 25 to 30, maybe 35 if we're going extreme, pounds heavier than Floyd. And yes, not to say small people, as I know and as we all know, not that smaller guys cannot knock out a bigger guy, but in combat sports, this isn't just like some random person right on the street. This is combat sports. And Logan, to be fair, I have to give him some credit here, has gotten better. He's not by any means a good boxer. He's a solid, maybe like celebrity boxer, right? But he's not some guy you gonna put in there on like a national. Like I said with Jake, like I said with all the celebrity boxers, they're not anybody you're gonna put in there versus like, a big dog in the boxing ring or whatever. They're like at best, regional level, amateur level guys. But I have to say, Logan has indeed. You can tell he's put in some work. He's gotten better in some aspects. There's some aspects in which you can see he has natural athleticism. He showed off a chin. Because he definitely took some hits from Floyd. And was able to, he was still standing, at the end of the fight. But there are things that Logan, if he wants to continue doing this, that he does need to improve. He needs to improve his gas tank, first off. He needs to improve the gas tank. Though he did catch that second win in the 7th and 8th. I did notice that. He caught a second win. But he needs to deal with, and it may be just nerves and just him being on that stage. Even though he said he wasn't nervous, and he looked very calm and cool, as we saw from Jake's IG stories and everybody covering him. What he said on the Showtime about how he felt, pre-fight. But you could tell there was an adrenaline dump around that second, third, fourth, where that feeling, that hype, it kind of dies off, and then it's like, okay, we're in this fight now, and that adrenaline from those first 2 rounds that had you feeling spry, that wears off, and that was whooping him. That was beating into him, especially during those middle rounds. But he did catch that second win, so that tells me that his gas tank is getting better, but it still could be better. He needs to learn how to deal with the adrenaline dump. Also, just needs to become a better puncher. Has a little bit of rubber wrist. He's very strong. Obviously, as you can see, he's got a great physique. But if he wants to land those punches the way that he could, he's got to work on some technical aspects there. You can kind of notice it in his actual, I guess, somewhat you could call it sparring, but just kind of his power work you see. He does a lot. He puts a lot of it. He does a lot with arms, not so much with body. If you notice when Floyd punches, right, he puts those hips. He has some explosion, right? He's not just punching with all arms. He's not flailing. He's punching with intent. That's why it comes with that whip sound. And if Logan could clean up that aspect, I think that would take him a long way. Logan is by no means you can tell he's put in the work. He's got a great work ethic. He's by no means for celebrity standards, he's a solid boxer. That's what I'll say. And I'll give him that. Do I think Floyd was not trying? I guess that was one of the questions. Did he just kind of coast and let Logan survive? Even Logan asked that question. And the answer is no. The answer is no. I know this is going to be a little bit stunning to some of you casual viewers that are liking, or just people that just hate Logan in general. That you're probably like, oh, okay, he just let him survive. No. He didn't let him survive. He let him survive probably those first about 3 rounds, but then Floyd decided, I think it was the 4th round, that he was going to get him out of here. But, like I said, Logan took some punches. He definitely took some punches. There was the clinch work that it wasn't all intended. There was some where Logan was clearly trying to survive. And this is an actual boxing tactic. I don't like it, but it is a boxing tactic that happens. There were some times where Logan was hurt, and he definitely did clinch. That happens. It's boxing. Some of it, though, if I'm being honest, was due to the height differential and the size differential. It was simply, you know how Floyd, he can get down. He has a much lower center of gravity. And when he'd be ducking Logan, and Logan was kind of, another thing, he was kind of like pushing forward. Like he was like leaning over almost when he punched. So when Floyd would dunk low and Logan would go high, they would just kind of get caught up because of their size differential. It wasn't always, them trying to hug it out. I think that was part of the reason why that happened. But Floyd, at some time around the 4th round, decided he was going to try to knock Logan out. And he definitely did. You noticed it. Because he was a different fighter. He wasn't really toying with him anymore. And he started chasing Logan down. He started stalking Logan down. He was trying to put him out. But Logan he made Floyd miss sometimes. He made Floyd miss. And he was able to take a punch. He was tougher. Like Floyd said, I think Floyd was being genuine. Logan was better than I think Floyd expected, and yeah, that's what happened. And then he was just a bigger guy, so he was able to take Floyd's punches, especially a retired Floyd's punches, a little bit better than maybe he would have if Floyd was in his prime. And I mean, it's not like Logan doesn't have combat sports experience, not just with the boxing. He was a pretty high-level wrestler in high school. Contender for Ohio State Championship, and Ohio is one of the best states for wrestling. So it's not like this guy is just, he's had no experience, he has no chin. He's done stuff where you have to get physical in terms of sports. So yeah. So I mean, that was also that was another dub for Logan. He's just been a walking dub apparently. But no, Floyd was definitely trying. Was this rigged? No. I don't know why every time a result doesn't happen that the public doesn't like, that they want to claim rigged. Okay? This wasn't rigged. This wasn't rigged for money. Yes, they did make a ton of money. Yes, like I said, I think obviously Floyd went relatively easy on Logan, especially in those early rounds. But he definitely turned it up. But this was not rigged. This was by no means a rigged boxing event. I'm sorry to break all of your hearts. I'm sorry to all of you that either, 1, hate Logan, 2, thought it was a boring fight, 3, you're a boxing gatekeeper, right? That think this was rigged. This was not rigged. I can show you a rigged boxing match. Like I said with Jake, I've seen some scorecards that would raise some eyebrows. That make you go, okay, maybe this is rigged. But this fight was not rigged. Unfortunately, this is sports. This is the fight game. You're not going to get the result that you so desire every single time. That doesn't mean you get to call it, oh, it's rigged. It was rigged. He didn't knock. How did Floyd not knock Logan out? Floyd is a 46-year-old retired boxer. Yes, he stays active. Yes, he's one of the greatest ever. But he's a 46-year-old retired boxer that was weighing about 150 pounds, going against Logan, who's a pretty good athlete, can take a punch, and has some semblance of a boxing skill. It wasn't that, completely of a foreign idea that maybe Floyd couldn't knock Logan out. Floyd wasn't some knockout artist anyways in his, prime. So, I know that's going to, maybe hurt some feelings. I don't really care. Maybe stunning to some, but yes, this was not a rigged fight. Yes, Floyd and Logan fought. Yes, it wasn't probably as exciting as you thought. Yes, you were expecting fireworks and you got maybe a sprinkler. So what? It happened. Salute to Logan. Credit to him for somehow pulling this off, and then he went 8 rounds. That's a dub. Now, I mean, if we had scorecards, did he win the fight? Heck no. Okay, I can't go with Jake and the whole 50-1. My brother beat. No. We saw the stats. He didn't, but he held on for 8 rounds, and he survived. So that was a win because a lot of people thought he was going to get knocked out. Even I, at portions, thought he was going to get knocked out during fight week. So credit to Logan, salute to him. I'm sure he's going to go to Dorado and. Which, I mean, he's going to go to Dorado in Puerto Rico and have a grand old time. And pretty much relax, especially since he's out of the spotlight now. Floyd, another $1 million. He's for someone that can't read, dude is a genius. He's a genius at making money. I don't know if there's very few people probably better in the world than Floyd Mayweather at making money. So, shout out to Floyd. I know a lot of people are hurt about whatever the fight. Oh, I didn't pay for it, but I still wish I didn't ever seen it. Blah 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 blah. Okay, dude. Whatever. But that's Logan Floyd. I guess we got that Bryce Hall Austin McBroom fight or whatever that's supposed to be next. I'll cover that a little bit on here. Once again, boxing is not dying. I know a lot of people are up in arms about these celebrity fights. Boxing is not dying, okay? And if you're one of those people gatekeeping boxing and you're like, and you hate these celebrity boxing matches and you say that it's ruining the sport, I want to ask you one question. When Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor fought for the undisputed strap on ESPN for free, were you watching? Did you watch the whole time? I just want to make sure you did that. Before you say boxing is dying, before you gatekeep the sport and say these guys are ruining boxing, this is an embarrassment to the sport, did you even watch that? Because not only did you not have to pay or find an illegal stream for this, it was on ESPN. That's free cable television. And if you did not watch that and you are out here saying, oh, boxing is dying, boxing is getting ruined by these celebrities thinking they can fight, then you are massively ignorant. Massively ignorant. Maybe misguided, but you are stupid. Because boxing is not dying. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again before my timer runs up, because I've been talking about this subject for a while, and I still have other things to talk about here for the combat sports section, like UFC 263, which is this weekend. Boxing is fine. And if you're one of those people, once again, that doesn't like these celebrity boxing matches, here's the deal. Don't be mad at Logan for chasing the bag. Don't be mad at Jake for chasing the bag. Don't be mad at Floyd for taking them up on this and taking the bag. Don't be mad. Be mad at the promotions for not promoting these guys as superstars. Let's be honest. How many boxers would you consider superstars? Big time household names. Not as many as there used to be. So don't blame these guys, these celebrities, for going in here. Don't blame these, people for putting them on pay-per-view or whatever. Blame the promotions. Blame the promotions for not doing their jobs. Blame the boxers for not knowing how to market themselves as stars if the promotions are not doing it. And stop as a boxing fan getting mad at Ryan Garcia or Teofimo Lopez when they try to market themselves on these different platforms so they can make money. So boxing isn't irrelevant. Don't be mad at the celebrities. Be mad at the promotions. And if you're not watching these big time matchups like Taylor and Ramirez when they happen on free television, be mad at yourself. Be mad at yourself. Boxing isn't dying. So please, just shut up. Alright, now that I'm done talking about that exhibition that somehow ended up taking my entire 20-minute period I have on this, on my camera before I have to change out and, do all that type stuff. UFC 263 is also this weekend. We got Israel, the last stylebender, the UFC middleweight champion, returning to middleweight after, he lost to Jan earlier in the year after he moved up to light heavyweight. He's back. He's taking on Marvin Vettori for a second time. Vettori probably gave him, I guess besides Jan, because Jan obviously beat him, gave Izzy his hardest test in the UFC very early on in his UFC career. Izzy won by split decision. Of course, both Marvin and Izzy have both gotten much, much better since then, so this should be a very interesting fight. Vettori was on the rise. Of course, this was supposed to be Rob's shot, but Rob wasn't, really good with the quick turnaround, so he'll fight for the middleweight strap a little bit later on the year as he's the #1 contender. But for now, we give Vettori, who was game, and Adesanya wanted to get the taste of that Jan loss out of his mouth. So we get this. These two don't particularly like each other either, but should be a very, 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 very interesting fight. I'm a pick Stylebender. I think Izzy gets it done. I think he's still better than Marvin. Not that Marvin's bad. Not that Marvin hasn't gotten better. Like I said, he's gotten much better. But this isn't the same. I know Marvin's going to try to employ pretty much something similar to the Jan tactic. But you're not going to be able to do that here because you're the same weight. He's not going to be as much of a strength disadvantage as Izzy had against John. So even with Marvin's great wrestling and great ground game, Izzy's also, besides the John, has had great takedown defense. So, style bender, always evolving. So I wouldn't expect this to be kind of the end of the world there. And I think he retains the middleweight strap. We also got a highly anticipated rematch between Devinson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno for the, what is it? Is it the bantamweight? Bantamweight? The bantamweight strap. The first one, insane. Absolutely insane. Insane. One of the fights of the year. A fight of the year contender was the first. I expect nothing but fireworks in the second. Moreno showed that he was on Figgy's level. Figgy's been a killer whole career. He's been slaughtering guys on his way to the title. But here we are. Here we are. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. If Izzy wasn't enough to draw you into watching this card, please do yourself a favor. And it may be the free fight this week for them. For Figueiredo and Moreno. Please watch the first fight. It will absolutely make you want to see the second. And hopefully it's as good as the first. And hopefully we get a definitive champion. Also in this card, Leon versus Nate, I guess is the third headlining fight. Nate Diaz returns. I fully expect Leon to win this fight, though, if I'm being honest. I know Nate's got the big, he's Nate Diaz, but I expect Leon to win here and continue to move up that welterweight rankings and probably be next in line for Kamaru Usman if it's not Colby Covington or Wonder Boy or whatever we're doing there. Yeah, so also UFC Fight Nights happened this week. Wasn't too strong of a card. I did see Rosenstrike knock out Sakai, so it's good for Gyro getting back in that win column. I'm sure he's going to be calling for a heavyweight shot, but I think he gets murdered by Nagano again if that happens. But good win, good win. I think Cyril Gane is definitely the most interesting heavyweight, besides, I guess, if John Jones is coming up or not. Besides Nagano, so we'll see what goes on there. But that is combat sports. Which brings me to the NBA. Yes, and we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. The Los Angeles Clippers and Mavericks series, which went to Game 7. And after the Mavericks started so hot, and I was very much so ripping into the Clippers very early on, and they were the joke. They were looking like they might be the joke of the league, but Kawhi Leonard. No PG, I will say, here in Game 7. Clippers get the win 126-111, for those that do not know. PG still had 22 and 10, okay? I think Pandemic P, we're kind of out of the pandemic a little bit. Still in it to an extent, but a little bit out of it. I think PG can shed that nickname. Possibly have passed it to Kristaps Porzingis, if I'm being honest. But I think he's earned some respect. I think we need to put some more respect on Paul George's name. He didn't fold. He didn't fold in this series. But Kawhi Leonard went out and showed why he is one of the best players on planet Earth. 28 and 10. He was dominant all series. Completely took over Game 6. I mean, took over Game 6 to push them over the top. Huge win for the Clippers, though. Luka had 46 and 14. So, not bad, but they're not there. They're not there yet. It's what I thought, and I was very surprised, if I'm being honest, to see them doing as well against the Clippers as they were. But they're not there yet. They're not there yet. That's okay. Luka's young. What's not okay is how Porzingis played. Tim Hardaway Jr. is good with me. But it's clear that the Mavericks need that number 2 guy to go alongside with Luka. I don't think it's Porzingis. I don't think it is. And that's for them to find out. I can't really think of who exactly, but that's something they need to address for Luka, who's shown he's ready. But they got to find the guy to go with him so they can make that happen. Of course, the Clippers move on to the second round, where they will be taking on the Utah Jazz in what should be a very, very interesting series. I said the second round was where, I said it for the East, where we're going to find out a lot about these teams and who's real or not. Also in the West, even though all of the West first round matchups were pretty tough, I think we're still going to learn a lot about these West teams here in the second round and who's really a championship contender and who might be a fraud. But this Clippers-Utah series should be very interesting. It's a great test for Utah. For Utah to prove if they're for real or not, this Clippers test is perfect. If they can beat Kawhi and PG in this very good, very, very good Los Angeles Clippers team, then I think Utah need to be on watch. Even though, don't get me wrong, I still believe the ISO gang is just too good and not much better than everybody. The Jazz have a legitimate shot of making out the West. And really making something happen, possibly stealing some games if they can beat the Clippers here. But that should be a very interesting series. Moving on down the line here, Denver in Game 6 beat Portland. Terry Stotts got fired after this game. Nikola Jokic had 36. MPJ, I said it last week. I said MPJ has to be the guy to step up. He stepped up. If this team had Jamal Murray, the Nuggets were my dark horse. For those asking, why don't I have a dark horse? It's because it was the Nuggets. But Murray got hurt, so whoop-de-doo. But MPJ stepping up, that's huge. He had 26. Dame had 28 and 13. But, yeah. Blazers, another team. They're not going to win. I hate to say this. I hate to be this guy. But Dame is not going to win in Portland. He's not. Unless they make a big-time move, he's not going to win in Portland. He's not. They've tried it. It's not happened. I hate it for Portland fans because they're nice. I love Dame in Portland. I respect his loyalty to that city, to that team, to that organization, to that franchise. But he's not going to win in Portland. Let's be real. He's not going to win in Portland. Unless they make a major move, he's not going to move him. He's not going to win in Portland. So he's going to need to move. And that's going to be an interesting storyline as we go down the line here. Even though he might stay. I mean, Dame is very, very loyal. But I just don't know if he's going to win in Portland. He does want Jason Kidd, but then Jason Kidd dropped out. Don't know what the deal is there of the hiring process for Portland. So we'll see what happens there. Good win for Denver. Game 6, we have Phoenix and LA. And, I was fired up about this because of the reaction. And I considered, and one of my friends, shout out to Will, told me to go ahead and make that montage of every time I told you guys on this podcast for the past 2.5 months that this Lakers team was in danger. And I highly, highly considered doing it. But you know what? I don't feel like I need to waste this much time on this series. I really don't. Because it's not really a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal because it's Braun, but in his first round streak 14 times before this year, 14 good. Hadn't lost in the first round. Phoenix the first to do it. But I mean, like I said on Twitter, I'm not surprised. I did the Nate Diaz little video. I'm not surprised. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, what did y'all expect to happen? Honestly, what did y'all say this on TikTok too? What did y'all expect to happen? This was a wounded Lakers team in terms of the two stars. Okay, Braun, the Lakers team, they were injured. Braun and AD were hurt. Okay, Braun couldn't do the whole. Besides the fact that this is year 18 and we don't know if he can get to that gear. I'm not gonna rule it out because it's LeBron. He's the best player on the planet. But with the bum ankle, he couldn't turn that gear. He still had a solid series. Not great for, I guess, LeBron in the playoff standards when we're used to. But, I mean, he wasn't awful. He had 29, 9, and 7 here in Game 6. Book went ballistic with 47 and 11. So, shout out to Book. And I'm going to get to the Suns for sure. But, yeah, Braun couldn't get to that level. He's injured. AD was gone. And then this team got worse. This team straight up got worse over the offseason. I said this beginning of the season. Lakers got worse. Okay? Their bench is not all that great. Schroeder, I said this to one of my friends. Like, Schroeder, he's going to give you 24. He's going to shoot you out of the game. Marc Gasol probably can't be my grandfather in a 15-yard sprint. Shout out to Grandpa. Trez is a solid offensive player. He's a great six-man. Can't play defense to save his life. Cruz is not bad. THT is too young. I mean, who else do we have? Kuz would be a regular dude if he was drafted in like Detroit. Kuz would be a regular dude. His life would be drastically different if he wasn't a Laker. And yeah, it's not a great supporting cast. If you just look at the roster, this is not a surprising result, especially since this is a good Suns team. DeAndre Ayton went and showed why he was the number 1 overall pick. I said this last week. Ayton is a beast. He's one of the best young centers in the game. Devin Booker went ballistic. He showed why he's a superstar. And then they got the point guard. Chris Paul makes every team he goes to better, and he's made this Suns team much better. I think they proved a lot here. I'm not surprised by this result in the slightest. Not in the slightest. I had them as the favorite over the Lakers. If you had asked me who I thought to win, I'd probably said the Suns. So, not too surprising here. And yeah, Denver versus Phoenix should be a very interesting series. And it's going to be one to watch out for. I think that's going to be a very, very exciting series. I think it's one that might go under the radar a little bit, but I think it could be one of the best series we have here in the second round. In the East, all their stuff finished up. I mean, literally in the East, like, there was some sweeps, there was some Game 5 wins. Like, it was very lopsided over in the East. So this second round, I said, is where it's going to get real. And I had a lot of people telling me the Bucks were going to beat the Nets. I saw Gang in 4. I'm not a Nets fan by any means. I would love, if Giannis, and I tweeted this out about the Purple Heart thing, if Giannis and them can beat them, I would love that. I would love that. It's not going to happen. I saw Gang in 4. Brooklyn wins 115-107 here in Game 1. KD had 29 and 10. Harden got injured in the first minute of the game and left, so the Nets beat the Bucks without James Harden. And I'm supposed to believe that the Bucks are going to beat the Nets. Stop it, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. Giannis had 34 and 11, though. Bud's going to have to play him 40 minutes a game. I don't know why he's so hesitant to do this. This isn't the regular season. This is playoffs time. This is winning time, okay? So we got superstars out here playing 44, nearly the whole game. Okay? Talking about LeBron, since the media wants to talk about LeBron a bunch, as always. We've seen him play almost 48 minutes a game in games where he had to win or carry a team. Against the Nets, Giannis going to have to play 44, 43 minutes a game. Okay? Because they can't really stop him. So if y'all want a chance, y'all going to have to do something about that. Still, ISO Gang in 4. I don't know what y'all were talking about with the Bucks beating the Nets. That was ridiculous. Also in the East, Atlanta was beating Philly by 20. Which was insane. Absolutely insane. But Philly made a comeback. Embiid played in this game. But the Hawks seem to be the Cinderella this year of the NBA playoffs. They whatever it is, they're playing their best basketball at the right time. And, it happens every year. One team that you don't expect gets scorching hot in the playoffs, and they start making things happen. And here we go with the Hawks. Trey had 35 and 10. Embiid with 39 in this game. But Atlanta gets the win. Huge Game 1 win on the road as well. So, very, 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 very impressive stuff. But yeah, Hawks making moves, so shout out to them. And should be an interesting series. I don't know if it stays for the whole time, but I don't know. The Sixers, this is a big series for Ben and Joel Embiid. This is the defining series for them. This just became the defining series for them. If they lose this series, that might get blown up. The Sixers might get blown up if they lose the series. So this is a very, very important series for them. And it's going to be an interesting one to follow. But yeah, NBA playoffs heating up. It's going to be a good second round. A lot of great matchups. I wish the Nets weren't the dominant force, and I just had this impending, no matter what any of these teams do, they're still going to have to get slaughtered by the Nets. Because, I'm almost certain they're winning the championship. I wish they weren't that, overarching dominant force. Because I feel like this has the opportunity to be such an exciting playoffs. If all of these teams had, an equal chance. Kind of like last year. I feel like this would be such a cool playoffs. But it's end of the day, nobody's beating the Nets, so it's like it kind of takes some of the excitement, but it's still it's gonna be a very good second round, and I'll be tuned in. And of course, we'll be talking about it here on the 815 Exchange. All right, now for entertainment, which is really TV and music yet again. Even though Loki comes out this week, thank God. So we will have some TV show to talk about here on the 815 Exchange. Praise Lord Jesus. Voice of the Heroes did come out. Lil Durk and Lil Baby's collab album, highly anticipated. Voice of the Heroes. And I'm not sure, even though I've heard it twice, it's been kind of awkward circumstances. So this score I'm going to give this is subject to change. But it lived up to the hype. They didn't really miss. Like, I didn't really feel like, I didn't hear a song and really go, I'm not sure if I'm feeling that one. I was honestly feeling all 18 tracks, which means this is going to get a very high score. But I haven't listened to it and felt it enough where I can say if it's a classic or not, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's going in album of the year, like score category. I'm going to give it a 9.3 right now. This is subject to change as always upon further listens. But it was great. It was great. From what I heard, it was great. But I need to listen to it more to get a further taste of how I feel about it. Because I can't really think of any like standout tracks in particular. But it was a very good album. It was a great album, honestly. And it was what I was a little bit worried. I was a little bit worried they try to dip too much into that melodic taste, even though they're good at it, Baby and Durk. I was worried they were going to dip too much in that. And that's something that hampered Durk's last project, The Voice. Even though I had The Voice scored very, very, very high. As I noticed on, there was a little bit, some of it kind of sounded a little similar. And he had kind of like that same tone, and that kind of got a little bit old. Even though he's good at it, you know, you got to have some versatility. And I'm glad that they did have, you know, some melodies, but they didn't rely on melodies. They did have the bars. They did come with what you wanted when you hear a Lil Durk and a Lil Baby and you hear a collab album. They came with that, and they delivered. They didn't miss. So shout out to Durk, shout out to Baby, Voice of the Heroes if you haven't listened to it already, which I'm sure you have. But if for whatever reason you haven't, I will give it the cosign. You can absolutely go listen to it. Great album, and yeah, we'll see if any of them kind of take off for me, and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, 9.3 as of now. I'm not giving it classic score yet, but definitely one of the best albums I've heard all year. So it's going to be album of the year conversations for me personally. But yeah, Voice of the Heroes. Like I said, nothing in movies. Absolutely nothing. I guess Fast and the Furious 9 came out overseas though. I've heard some mixed reviews about that, but I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. Let's be honest. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm still going to be watching it. I started watching the greatest animated series of all time, superhero animated series of all time. I started watching because I have HBO Max. I started watching Batman the Animated Series, and my goodness, that show has held up phenomenally. If I didn't have actual responsibilities that I had to attend to every day, I would probably, I honestly wanted to go on like a rampage and just run through it. That's how good it was. I've only seen the first 3 episodes, but it looks like, okay, I understand why this is so highly thought of and regarded, because it's like the animation still holds up. Like it feels, in just the tone, and then the iconic intro that I've heard millions of times before I even watched the show. But yeah, very excited about that. Maybe I'll talk about that here some. And if you've watched it before, you let me know what your favorite episode is, and I'll try to keep a watch on it. No spoilers though. No spoilers. I don't need to be spoiled any more than I have. But yeah, Batman the Animated Series. We're talking about the 90s series, not the new one. The 90s series. Looks very good. Very excited to watch that and kind of marathon through that this summer. Moving on here, we're going to go over to the other playoffs going on, with the league with the first acronym being national, and that's the NHL, because they've had the sauce. Honestly, the NHL's had the sauce. It's been a good playoffs. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. It's been a very exciting playoffs as well. If you like offense, if you like scoring, this has been a pretty good. It's been a pretty good playoffs as well. We're gonna start off with Tampa Bay versus Carolina. Of course, I'm a Hurricanes fan. I don't expect us to win this, but hoping we can put up a good fight. Everything was going just swell here in Game 4. Yeah, in Game 4, everything was going just swell. It was perfect. You know, we were doing so well. But then Tampa Bay scored 4 unanswered and won 6-4. Ned, I love you. You're gonna be a great goalkeeper for us. I said goalkeeper, a great goalie for us. But this wasn't it. Stamkos had 2 goals and an assist. Kuch also had 2 goals and an assist. Listen, for such a good defensive team, yeah, the Lightning have the firepower, but you never want to give up 6 goals, and not in this fashion. This was a huge game for us. If we could have tied up the series, that would have gone a long way. Now we're going to be facing elimination for the rest of the series. We're down 3-1. Tampa Bay, man, they're just good. They're just so good. So good. Talk about Vasilevsky the last week. Talking about the offense this week. Stamkos is back healthy. They got Kucherov point. Listen, Lightning are a very, very good team. Victor Hedman. So, no shame in losing to them, but hopefully we can get back in the series and make it interesting. Boston and the Islanders. A series that looked like it might be going the way of ours, or even worse. But the Islanders have fought back. Matthew Barzal. A goal and assist here in Game 4 helps lead the Islanders. They get the win 4-1. Varley, not a bad game. He needed one of these, I believe, as well. And yeah, besides those early mishaps in Game 1 and Game 2, Islanders have done a great job. They've tied the series 2-2. They're showing that they belong. And yeah, they're here. It's gonna be a dog fight to the end, and yeah, shout out to the Islanders. Shout out to the Islanders fans. Good to see. You're a team that could have floundered, you know, and fell apart after Johnny T left for Toronto, but with guys like Barzal, y'all fought back, and here you are in the playoffs making waves against the Bruins. So going to be interesting to see how that series goes with the Islanders having the momentum right now. Montreal is up 3-0 now after game 3 versus Winnipeg. They get the win of 5-1. Of course, the big story here was Mark Scheifele's hit at the end of, I think it was Game 2. Scored an empty netter, and then absolutely brutal hit. I thought it was, in the sense of the game, it was dirty, but it also looked pretty clean in terms of a hit. It's just kind of the circumstances and, you know, what happened. And yeah, it would look like one of those NHL 21 or 20, like the ragdoll physics, the frostbite engine ragdoll physics in terms of how my guy reacted from the Scheifele hit. But that seems to have fired up Montreal. They got a dominant win. Joel Mia had 2 goals, 1 assist in Game 3. Carey Price has been the best goalie so far. I mean, he's one of the best goalies in the world, but he's been classic Carey Price here in this Winnipeg series. And yeah, Montreal looking like they're trying to get the broomsticks out. We'll see if they can get it done. Colorado has been tied up by the Vegas Golden Knights. Who would have thought? I mean, Vegas, very good team, but Colorado was looking dominant. But Vegas has fought back. Jonathan Marchand with the hat trick in Game 4 to help tie it up 2-2. And we got a series, ladies and gentlemen. We got a series. Colorado hasn't faced much adversity here in the playoffs so far. Here it is. We're going to find out if they're truly, I mean, the talent is there. We've seen them be dominant. They look the part of a Stanley Cup team. Well, we got to see if they got this. We got to see if they got the heart to be a Stanley Cup champion. And we're going to find out in this series against Vegas. Because Vegas has shown that they're going to give them a test. They're going to give them a fight. And, yeah, it's time for Mac. It's going to Makar they got to rise to the occasion. They got to prove why they believe and why it seemed like they were the best team in the league this year. So, very interesting series. I'll definitely try to check out some of those games. As I did this week. I think I did a pretty good job catching those Avalanche Vegas games. But good stuff from them. And we're going to go down here to the MLB for a very, very, very quick MLB section. It's mostly just pain for me and my Yankees. We placed the Red Sox. And despite Michael King having an immaculate inning, which was great to see, it seems like we do one of these crazy trivial baseball, accomplishments every week now. We got swept by the Red Sox. We're up here, and then we're down here. Aaron Boone, I've given you a fair shot, I feel. I've given him a long leash, but it's starting to wear thin. It's starting to wear thin in terms of whether he's the guy. I'm not sure if I believe Aaron Boone is the guy. I've been skeptical for a while, but I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure. But I don't know who's a better option, which is probably the more scary thing. But I don't know if we can keep going with Boone as the guy and as our manager if we want to reach the potential that this team has. Can be getting swept by the Red Sox. Those Xander Bogaerts, shout out to him. He's been on fire this year. He was on fire in the series. But, yeah, Yankees, the alarm is starting to ring. It's starting to ring. Not saying full panic, but we're getting closer to that button. I think that's fair to say. Also in New York, but with the Mets, Jacob Degrom. He's back, and now his ERA has reached .62. After I think he had a 7 innings pitched, 11 Ks or something crazy. His average is now finally under 400. He had more batting WAR than Francisco Lindor. He's a monster. DeGrom is a monster. He's actually a monster. He's a machine. Sports Illustrated did a great article that I've been meaning to read about the juice ball. Because pitching has been outrageous. And DeGrom, who was already just a beast, okay, already the best pitcher probably in the league, with whatever has happened to the ball, this is video game. He's putting out video game MLB The Show numbers. It's ridiculous. He's a beast. Absolute beast. Shout out to DeGrom. He's a beast. None more to say there. If you get a chance to watch the DeGrom Show, do yourself a favor and do that. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. Yes, we have reached the Roundup, and we're going to start off with the second thing I was going to talk about. And I thought about making this a full thing, but I was like, let me just run it into the Roundup. I got nothing else to say for soccer. We had the CONCACAF Nations League final with the USA versus Mexico. Huge soccer rivalry or football rivalry for my Europeans. Huge rivalry between us and Mexico, and Mexico's been dominating as of recent. This was the first big major, it's not really a major tournament, let's be honest, but first big test for our young generation. This was the youngest teams that we have ever put out on a national level, and this is supposed to be our golden generation. So it was going to be interesting to see how they did when they got tested. And my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed this game watching the Mayweather-Paul fight, or you missed it afterwards in the fireworks that happened after the Mayweather-Paul fight came after, and I saw the rest like I did, my goodness, you missed peak CONCACAF. I mean, this was the most entertaining soccer game I've seen in a very, very long time. I mean, one of the most entertaining, classic, chaotic CONCACAF soccer games I've seen in a long time, ladies and gentlemen. We had disallowed goals. We had set pieces. We had stars being stars. We had fans throwing bottles of piss and soda and popcorn. We had fights. We had trash talk. We had late winners. We had suspicious activity with VAR. We had it all. We had peak CONCACAF activities, and Christian Pulisic is going to be in the thumbnail. It's probably popped up right here. Had one of the coldest photos in sports history. One of the coldest photos I have ever seen. I have strongly thought about making this my header on Twitter. It's such a cold photo. It is so cold. It's such a cold photo. But Pulisic with the penalty, 115. That was a penalty. I don't know why that was such he stuck his foot. Yeah, he got physical. It was a very physical game, but that was a penalty. I don't know, not just me being American, just in general. That's a penalty. But that penalty was ridiculous. I mean, that's unsavable. I feel bad for Ochoa. No, I don't. But that was unsavable. Even for Guillermo Ochoa playing for Mexico, I was on top bins, like he said. Top upper 90, ridiculous. Iconic celebration after. And Pulisic, what a week. Champions League final on Saturday, comes back, Nations League final, and gets the winner. And he was the captain, Captain America, Christian Pulisic, the golden boy, with the golden moment. You love to see it. Gio Reyna, the young 18-year-old, he also got a goal here. He's going to be a star. Weston McKennie was boss of the midfield. Some people saying he possibly should be the captain. I love the way he was stepping out for the players. He also scored. I will give a shout out to some of the Mexico players like Linares, Chucky Lozano, even though he wasn't his best. He definitely was getting active and made me a little worried at times. And yeah, they played a little dirty though, so they got what was coming for them. And ball don't lie, they got that penalty at the end. Guaduardo, their captain, against my man, my dog, Ethan Horvath, 25-year-old Ethan Horvath, making big plays and big moments. Stefan got hurt. Horvath came on and turned into Neuer, American Neuer, for some reason. And he was stopping everything. That huge penalty save, the celebration afterward, it was glorious. It was glorious. A huge win for the Golden Generation. And hopefully this can build momentum. We got them. We beat Mexico. I am ordering my Pulisic jersey. French Open. Quickly go here before I run out of time. French Open, Roger was looking good. However, his body, he said, kind of told him he needed to take a rest. And though, honestly, for Roger's situation, even though he's declining because of his body, greatest tennis player of all time, it was good to see him get those wins, advance to the fourth round. But hate to see him have to, call it quits. Serena also lost in the fourth round. So that was kind of ironic that the two, probably in the men's and women's, two people you might call the GOATs in those respective division. Both of them had to leave in the fourth round. Raj after a win, Serena just because she got beat. I saw Coco Gauff won, Nadal won, Joker won. So we'll see how the French Open concludes. And to end off here, the Tennessee Titans acquire Julio Jones. And the AFC was never the same. That offense is going to be disgusting. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones is a disgusting, an absolutely revolting thought for any AFC defensive back, especially in the AFC South. For y'all to try to cover him. Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback. They also have Derrick Henry. I don't know if you know, but he's led the league in rushing the past 2 years and probably is the best running back in the league, honestly, if we're, being honest, just off of production. That offense is scary. That is a scary, scary offense. If they still had Jonnu Smith, oh dear God. But yeah, shout out to the Titans. That's they looking real. Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, time to step up and fill in that hole. I'm sure Atlanta will be sad to see Julio go. But yeah, I mean, he had some great moments there. Time for the future. I think the Falcons are getting closer and closer to a rebuild. Not that Pitts can't contribute. Not that Ridley's not good. But yeah, it's, about that time. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have reached the end of episode, what is this, 44 I said? I'm losing track here. 44, yeah, episode 44 of the A15 Exchange. It was a good week in sports. Hopefully this week is as good. Playoffs continue to start to wind down and get towards these championship moments. Should be some good stuff. We got Polo G dropping Hall of Fame on Friday. We got Loki dropping. So, entertainment segment will be back up. Maybe at the buzzer, I'll bring that back next week. We can find something to talk about. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think this was a very, very good episode. So, It'll be fun. We'll see how it goes in editing. But hope you guys have a great week. Remember to follow me on my social medias. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho signing off.